Today is an awesome lesson. We're going to take a look at the Lesson Plans and Layovers website, and I'm going to show you the calculator that I built to be able to take a look at what makes sense in terms of miles and points and how to get the best value. Additionally, I'm going to show you some examples that I looked up and show you how I do the calculations so you can practice this too and figure out what's the best redemption opportunities for you. All these cool things happening on this episode of Lesson Plans and Layovers. Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. This is way more the lesson plan side of Lesson Plans and Layovers. A lot of people have been asking me, like, does it make sense for me to buy this ticket or this ticket or this ticket? And I just wanted to show you some practical ways you can do this. And honestly, if you want to watch this video once, cool. It might not be a bad idea a second time to grab a laptop or grab your phone and kind of punch some of these numbers with me because I want you to see it. The only way for you to really take the next step is for you to practice. I'm going to show you what's going on, but this is an absolutely critical step in order for you to learn how to play the game. You've got to understand this, so please hang with me. Let me show you some examples. This will definitely help you long term, and all this stuff that we're talking about, you can't just dream about taking cool vacations. You have to put some things to practice as well. So I'm on my Lesson Plans and Layovers website. It is a cool website, and it's also the place that I've installed a new calculator. I'm not so sure I'm down with the layout of where it is, but this calculator took me a while to write. So if you go to Lesson Plans and Layovers and click on calculator, now you're going to have all the things that you're going to need. Right down here, we do an award search versus cash calculator, and it's going to have all the stuff that you're going to need to calculate totals. Okay, so we're going to run through some numbers here, but one thing I wanted to show you too is there's a number of websites. This one is frequentmiler.com, but there's a number of websites that show you what kind of transfer bonuses are happening during the course of the month or even the year. So in this month of March, when I'm recording, it's just before spring break for us. There's a tons of different bonuses depending on what credit card you're working with. One that I'm going to kind of mess around with a little bit today because I've talked about this a bit is the Citi Thank You. And you can see Citi Thank You right now is a 30% transfer bonus from Citi Thank You Rewards to Virgin Atlantic Club, which means that if you're getting your 2 or 3% back, like we've talked about before, 2% cash back on Citi Double Cash or 3% back on the Citi Premier card for gas and restaurants and dining, then you're gonna get that. But then also, if you transfer any miles up from Citi over to the Atlantic Flying Club, you're going to get a 30% bonus. So it's a really good time right now if you were, and these come up frequently, but if you were planning a trip down the road a little bit that you could use maybe Virgin Atlantic flights, this would be the way to do it. So B-dubs, let's get to business. Show me the money. Like, how does this work? Okay, so again, I'm going to have this calculator up, and I've pre-programmed, you can see, not to play games, but I pre-programmed some options in here just to speed this up. Otherwise, we have to wait for everything to load, and today must have been my lucky day because I kept on hitting constant solid points. The flight awards calculator that I have put in here is 1.5%. Honestly, I think this should be more like 2, so I'm going to move it up to 2. I think 2 is a better redemption rate that you're going to want to get. So if you end up getting 2% cash back, and then in each one of those pennies that you would redeem, you get another 2 times that, you're in a pretty good spot. So let's take a look at some of these. This is one that I plugged in just for fun to see what was going on, and you can change all sorts of parameters in Seats.aero. Seats.aero is the other website that I'd like you to pull up. There are a ton of other options for you besides Seats.aero that you can use. There's like Points Yeah, which also works. You'll see I have the pro version here, so this cost me like $100 per year to do it, but I save so much money I don't think it's a big deal. But right now, pull up the Seats.aero if you want to, and you'll be able to look at flights. You won't be able to look as far out as I can look, but you get used to like, okay, I understand how this website works. A couple other things why we're looking at it, because I know for many of you, this is the first time that you've seen it. We can select some advanced features here, and you'll notice that there's a couple things that I've selected. First, you can select a maximum amount of additional fees. I don't want to pay $500, $600, $700, $800, $900 in additional dollars for a flight that I'm trying to use miles on. You can also change your operating carriers to any one that you may choose. You can change this cabin filter. When I was looking for business class flights the other day, I changed it and specifically selected business class or business and first. You also have the options down here, as you can see, where we have a list of programs and alliances and transfer partners. for this first initial search, what I did is I selected the program just Virgin Atlantic, since that's the one that has 30% offer. And so when I'm looking at the information, that's all I see. But you can also select it by alliances that are connected to airlines, or you can select it to transfer partners. So if you have all your money or all your credit card points tied up into Citi or Chase or Capital One, instead of looking through all of the information, you can select just the ones that you want. Right now, just for today, I'm going to show you Virgin. So I typed in Virgin, and the search parameters that I made were USA to Tokyo. That seems probably pretty wild, right? USA. Sometimes I like to do this because if you just type in USA, it shows you anywhere, like what's the best redemption option, regardless of where you'd be flying out of. And that's not going to work for everybody, but a lot of people use what's called repositioning flights. And these repositioning flights, you're probably going to pay cash for, but you might fly, like, let's say your home airport is Chicago or Detroit. Those are generally the ones that I fly out of, or maybe Grand Rapids. You can fly out, you can take a flight from there to maybe, let's say, JFK or Washington Dulles or something like that, or even Atlanta, and then fly out from there to redeem your points. So that's something else to consider, something else to make sure you're aware of. But you can certainly, as an origin, if you're playing with this right now, you can put your airports in there, and you can select more than one. So if you like live in an area where there's 2 or 3 options for you, you can put all those in there. I said, all right, June, most teachers are going to be free in June to take some time off if they need to, and parents, this would be a great time. No need to pull the kids because the kids are on summer break. And I put in USA to Tokyo, and you can see this was with Virgin specifically, all of the options here. So we're going to click on one, and when you click on these, you can get a little bit more information. You can see right here, the blue one, it says that it has connections. If I highlight over green, it's direct. Well, if I'm flying all the way from one spot to another, you know, from LA to into Japan, I want that to be a direct flight. But you know, in this case, if it was me, I'd have to at least consider it, because I'm talking about Chicago O'Hare. So even though there's some connections, it might be something to consider. So let's plug in the math. Now watch this, because everybody can do it, and either pause me right now and bring up your own flight and follow through the steps, or watch me first and then you can push pause and try to duplicate this. All right, so here we know that the flight we're talking about is LAX to HND. Okay, and I can click on the informational piece of information. You can access more details. You'll notice that this is a Delta flight. All right, so even though we're booking with Virgin Atlantic, since it's a partner airline, this is with Delta. So if I wanted to check to see what the price is of Delta, then I would go to the Delta website and check that out. You also can click on Seat Map, and it'll show you what seats are currently available. And so maybe that's important to you, especially if you have a chunk of people you're going with. Maybe you're bringing 4 or 5 people. This will allow you to see if there's a number of seats that are packed together. Okay, you can see there's lots in business class and first class yet, premium, and then there's a decent number of seats taken, but you can see there's a collection of seats that you can still use. All of these would work. So if I go then to Delta, and I'm looking for this flight that leaves at 10:20, here's that flight. And so you'll see that the total cost for Delta Main is $1,028. So now I know what the actual cost would be. So if I go to the Lesson Plans and Layovers website and the flight awards calculator, here I can punch that stuff in and see if it makes any sense. Cost me $1,028 to do, so I can go right over here and change this to $1,028. The points required in this case, we're looking at, again, we can redeem Virgin Atlantic flights for $49,500. And so I'm going to take my little trusty calculator out here a minute. And if I go to 49,500 and I were to multiply that times 30%, that would take off 14,850. So if I subtract, let's say 14,900, let's just say 15 from 50, just to make it easy. We're looking at 35,000 miles. So that's give or take a few hundred miles. So if I go over here, then we can change this to 35,000 total miles. And now we want to know what kind of taxes and fees do we have to pay. Well, according to the Seats.aero website, this flight we're looking at, you can see direct, and it cost $5.60 in addition to the flight, or to the points. So I can go back here and I can plug in $5.60 and see what happens. This is a flight redemption worth almost 3 cents for every dollar that you put in. And remember, if we're purchasing or getting rebates back at 2 or 3%, depending on what our purchases are, and then on top of that, we're getting an additional almost 3% back on every penny. This is a pretty good redemption, and this information will all get broken down for you, and it'll even make the recommendation, so you don't have to listen to my flight calculator or like award calculator recommendation, but you can set the parameters. You can change the target price if you choose to. Let's do another one, or you can push pause a minute and then quickly try your own, but I want you to come back and let's take a look at another one, right? Same kind of idea. Here's one that, let's say in the summer, which is not far away. We always talk about planning well into the future. In this case, we're looking at London. How about the USA to London, anywhere in the USA, around the 24th, plus or minus a few days? What comes up for me? You'll see a lot of these are JFK, IAD, which is Washington, Dulles, Miami, LAX. So a lot of these are like the best options are East Coast, but take a look at how crazy cheap these are in terms of reward points. Now you will see $162.50 for additional costs. So that means that outside of the points, you're also gonna have to pay a little bit of extra money. I'm just checking out to see which flight that I did here. The one that left on, it looks like June 22. So let's take a peek at this a minute. June 22, I think it must have been this one. And we have 12,000 total miles again, times 30%. And we're looking at subtracting 3,600 off of that. So I think that's, if I'm doing my math right, around 8,400 points. So I can go over here and I can change this to 8,400 points. The total cash price of this flight is going to be $514.50. So I can change this to $514.50. Now there is on this one, there's a little bit of additional cost though that they're charging you. And so what I want to do is change the taxes and fees too, to make sure we're getting all of the right information. So if I go here and hover over this, we're looking at $162.50 in additional cost. So let's see if this changes anything. We'll go $162.50. And in this instance, what it says is it says that, oops, I obviously messed these up. This is supposed to be the cash price is $514 and the points required were 8,600. And so this is a redemption rate of 4.09. Again, probably use our points. This is a really good redemption if you have them available. Citi's one of them, so is Capital One, so is Chase. Virtually everybody changes out with Virgin. But you can see how beneficial it is to be aware of these transfer bonuses, because right now you're killing it, right? You're doing a really good job with all of these redemption offers that are up. This is another one that I just did. It's close to spring break for us. By the time this like pops out to you guys might not see it, but let's do, it looks like some of these may have ended. Let's try ORD, Orlando to MCO. And this is going to be on the 4th of April. So like leaving this Saturday. Let's see what happens with a search. If we go ahead and press this, what kind of information is going to come up? Sometimes just because it's looking at so much information, it takes a little while to punch out. You can also, as this is kind of working, you can select this by economy, or you can select it by business class too. So you'll see, like in this case, Alaska Airlines is such a solid transfer partner. It's one of the reasons that I have Bilt, which I just got, and I'm going to do a video about Bilt rewards and how the Bilt ecosystem works in a little bit. But you can see most of these with business class are Alaska, and it looks like a lot of the economy is with Alaska too. You can see a popular one here, Frontier, made it on the list. And there's a litany of other ones, right, that are all here. Let's say that you had some Bilt points that you could use, right? Alaska, this is 7,500 bucks or 7,500 points plus $18.10. And this is actually with American Airlines. You can see, so Alaska works with American Airlines. So what we want to do is we want to go back to home, American Airlines. This one tagged me out here, so I have to go back and take a peek at this. But let's see, like if I were to book this late, what actually would it look like? So if we want to go from Chicago and specifically ORD in this instance to go to MCO in Orlando, and we were looking at doing one way, and we were heading out on April 4th. We're going to do a search, and we're looking for that same flight we just got here, the one that leaves at 6 in the morning on that date. So let's see if we can find it as this information is popping up. And again, once we have that, then we plug that into the lesson plans and layovers like cheat sheet that I gave you. And so here it is. It's 454 bucks is what the cost would be, which is crazy. And it shows that, by the way, they have lots of these seats available too. So that's pretty cool. If you had these miles, you could use it. So 7,500 points. We're going to go back over here. We're going to plug in the 7,500 points total. And the cost for this flight, again, was going to be pretty expensive, I believe. The flight cost was, change all over the place here. The price was $454. And just while I'm here, I'm going to see what the cost for extras are too. 18 bucks. So we have 454 bucks is the cash price for this. And there's 18 bucks in fees. And so we're looking at a flight redemption rate of 5.81%. That's days before spring break starts. Now, you're not going to always hit it, and you might not have Alaska Airlines, right? You might have something different. In fact, if we change this and we look at what we were looking before, and we're looking at just, let's say, how about Delta? See if there's any Delta options, or JetBlue. These could all be other options that you would have, but like, let's just look at Delta to see what it is. Delta is going to be a little bit more expensive. Do you have the ability to, do you have any Delta miles that you could potentially use? All these are going to change a little bit. So the lesson is, the big lesson is that this tool in Lesson Plans and Layovers is legit. It is a great place to look. All of you right now, or sometime in the next several days when you have a few minutes, hop on to Seats.aero, go to the free site. It won't let you play out like many months down the road unless you have a pro version, but play with some of these numbers to take a peek at what kind of point values are you seeing up most often, and are some of them connected to some specific transfer partners. The ones that Abby and I have points in right now are Citi, Chase, Capital One, and Bilt, and we actually have Rove too, which is pretty good. That will limit us. If we had some American Express, it might help us out a little bit, but this is a great activity, a great thing for you to utilize. This is a true lesson, friends. So take a peek at this, visit the Lesson Plans and Layover website, and while you're there too, another thing you can check out as you're starting to go through some of this, if you look at some of the free downloads, one of them is award flight search, and you can click on this, and as you open it up, this tool will allow you to start typing in some of the things that you were able to find today. So you have like a giant list of what all your options are in one spot, which will help keep you organized and maybe show your spouse or your buddies what kind of information that you were able to find. So thanks for hanging out with us. Hope that by the time that this video comes out, spring break for us will be done, but I hope that those of you who were able to travel well. Take care.